welcome everyone. Welcome to the Upskill School. Your host Abhishek here. And today we have an amazing guest with us, uh, Giridhar LV. About Giridhar, he is a thorough corporate professional, worked in many corporates, handled large teams. Currently, Giridhar is a co-founder and CEO of Nuvepro Technologies, the company which is helping uh, individuals, youth, professionals to upskill their game in the field of education and learning and development, which is very, very crucial. So welcome, Girdhar, to the show.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to be on your show.
Yeah, welcome. So Girdhar, quickly jumping into the point, upskilling is the game. You also know the we are moving into the world of AI, where people are fearful that their jobs will be lost. And in the arbitrage of technology and humanness, please guide us, Giridhar, how the scenario would look like and how you contribute, what you do, and how you contribute in the lives of people.
Yeah, I think it's not only about AI, but anything new which comes up is always it puts a fear in the minds of people who have been working in a particular field, and a new thing comes up and they think that it's going to disrupt them, right? I think it's happened through the ages, maybe starting off with the advent of machines or motor cars and stuff. I think people who are in those fields specifically thought that they will be left without jobs, and then you saw that led to I would say almost explosion of opportunities in that particular field, right? Same thing happened with data when the cloud thing came up. We thought data centers will all go out of business, right? There will be no more data centers. It's going to be only Amazon. It's going to be Microsoft, and it's going to be Google later point of time, and there will be no play for data centers at all. But if you see now, the amount of money which is getting invested in data centers, it is just mind-boggling, right? Even India, I think it's coming up probably as number one or number two in the whole data center capacity which is getting set up around the world. Right? So it did not lead to any kind of loss or anything there. I would say the same thing with AI as well. Only thing which is a bit different here is, if you see throughout the ages, not the ages, in the last few years, whatever software engineers have done has gone and disrupted other fields, right? It is you do most recently you say about self-driving cars, right? You're disrupting the driving industry. You may think about other fields similar to that, right? Now here with AI, we are actually disrupting our own jobs. That is where I think a lot of the fear is coming into people's mind, right? I think forget about the other jobs getting disrupted. We are more worried that my job will go away now. But if it is like your Gartner hype cycle, right, which is probably at the top of the hype is where all these things are expressed out. But from the interactions which I have been having with people in the industry, as well as folks who are at the leading edge, right? I was in the US a couple of weeks back, met with people there, specifically from Meta, say, Facebook, and even one of the model developers, which is Cohere. And what I get to hear is their view is, and also is same in line with my view, which is that whatever tools are coming out should be used as a way to enhance our own effectiveness, right? First as software engineers, first as people working in IT, how can I use these tools to enhance my own effectiveness, which reduces a lot of the issues which will come up later on in, I would say, production, or when this product hits the market, right? If you know the metrics in the software industry, almost like 60 to 70% of the time is spent in maintaining old software, right? Because you said you release something into the market, there was some issue, and that is what money is getting spent on, I would say, maintaining. So when companies are spending time on software products, maybe about 20 to 30% goes into new development, but the rest 60 to 70% is going into maintaining old stuff, right? With AI coming in, is there a way to reduce that kind of rework which happens, right? Is there a way to release stuff into the market which is more, I would say, more in terms of what it is supposed to be doing, matches that promise what it gave, and less about the bugs which it introduces, right? So it has to be seen in those lights, that is there way to spend my money better now? If I'm able to spend my money better now, instead of just contributing, say, 20 to 30% in new development, maybe it's going to become 50 or 60%, right? Overall, improving the effectiveness of the entire, I would say, development cycle and production cycle and all that stuff. And maybe helping us develop something which I thought I'll be doing maybe 2 years down the line. Now I have the money and the resources, maybe I'll do it right now. So I think net, we should not worry too much about losing our jobs and stuff. There obviously there will be job losses. It is not that any change will be done without those kind of effects happening. But in majority of the cases, it is going to be a net positive effect, and that net positive will, I would say, open up resources not only in time but also in money, which can be invested in other areas. So that is a positive view I have, Abhishek, of the Gen AI wave which is coming in.
And that's a quite a fair and a positive view, I would say, because a lot of anxiety comes on this conversation. But this is giving more comforting in terms of the industry expectation. Thank you, Giridhar. Moving on to the point of how did you started Nuvepro? What made you to start? You've been a corporate professional, handle large teams in your engagements previously. What made you and what you do and how you impact life of people through Nuvepro initiatives?
Yeah, so Nuvepro started off with a different promise. I was referring to data centers previously, right? That data centers thought that they're going to get disrupted and stuff. So when Nuvepro started off, it was the goal was to help data centers become like another Amazon or another Microsoft Azure, right? So that was the goal at that time. Which is how do we make these data centers move away from giving just racks and servers to something which is more self-service. So that was the goal which we started off with. But then I think as a first-time entrepreneur, there are I would say mistakes which everybody makes, or in terms of how do you start, where do you start, who do you sell to, right? What kind of solutions do you sell? So we have made all of those mistakes, right? So the first 5 to 6 years was about trying to figure out our way into this entire ecosystem, right? Whether what we started off was the right thing or not. And I think eventually we figured out that the goal which we're trying to do or reach, right, which is trying to make data centers another Amazon or a data center as another Azure, was probably not the right thing, because data centers, we finally realized that they don't have to become another Amazon or Azure to compete with them, right? There are specific scenarios like where an enterprise, say a bank, for example, right? They want to get away from managing their own data centers. However, they don't want to set up another Amazon. Instead, they just want to have a data center which is like 24/7 guarded, available, and all that stuff, right? So that is what it was moving to. So then at that time, when we went into an introspection saying that what should we do next? Coming from the services industry, we thought maybe we should start off another services industry ourselves, right? Whether to IT services or cloud development, etc. So that was one of the things which we considered. Then in some way, we got like some clue about what to do next by one of our customers or a couple of our customers coming and asking us that we have the specific need, which is all of these new technologies are coming up. And while the way teaching has been done has been an extension of how you learn in your college, right? Which is you go into a classroom, sit 9 to 5 there and come back and then keep thinking, maybe this is how things are supposed to work, right? Maybe you spent about an hour in your physics laboratory or a chemistry laboratory. Maybe if you're done your engineering, maybe you went to the electrical laboratory or electronics laboratory, right? So those were the only places where you would actually touch and feel about what was going on, right? But largely, I think we left that piece of touch and feel going away and just concentrating on theory, right? Everything was about learning some stuff and imagining this is how it could work. So that is what it was getting into. And our customers were pointing out exactly the same thing, that we are teaching these different users of ours. So customers were primarily in the upskilling space, edtechs, I would say. And that they are teaching these people, whether it is Java programming or whatever else need to be taught there. And we don't see people getting engaged, right? They're just sitting through the lectures, not doing any kind of hands-on activities there, and they're going away. and that's reflecting in terms of the satisfaction ratings which is coming to those because of that kind of experience, right? That they're not getting placed or they're not moving ahead in their career. And if you want to get any kind of a hands-on activity, it was saying that you can download an image onto your system, which is like your virtual box image or your VMDK image, and then play it. But if you say like 5 6 years now, before, we didn't have Geo at that time, so the internet speeds were pretty bad, and it would take many hours to download images like that, right? So that was what was the issue which came up to us. And so we said, with the technology which we had built about trying to make data centers like another Amazon or Azure, we had built something which could help people access these kind of hands-on environments over the browser, right? So that is what was the game changer which we brought in, right? And so this one was our first introduction into this field, which is into the upskilling field, where you have people who are teaching courses or taking courses. They do not have a place to do their hands-on activities. And if we solve that problem in a way where it is not bandwidth intensive, then the effectiveness of that kind of learning improves, right? So that is what we solved for, Abhishek, which is giving these people access to these kind of learning environments over the browser without any kind of setups or changes to be done either at the provider end or at the user end. So that's how we got into this particular field.
So anybody who is sort of looking to coach or looking to teach or looking to uh, provide education, they could, of course, access Nuvepro's technological solution, which will enable them to be able to better provide the services uh, uh, to the end user, right? So that the technology enables them to be imparting the knowledge in a better way, isn't it?
Yeah, so it is not a broad-based one where we can say any kind of teaching. This is specifically technology teaching, right? So
Technology.
anything related to technology is where we can come in.
Got it. Got it. No, that's a really helpful. So moving on to the next point, since you've been leader in big companies and you're now leading the entire, the education and technology coming together and solving, upskilling gap, skill gap issues. Can you tell us what is the role of a leader when he's driving an upskill program? What a leader should do? What is your experience so that the upskilling program is successful in an organization?
Yeah. So when you take a look at upskilling, right? So there is various, I would put two angles there. One is prior to AI coming in and one after AI is coming, right? So let me just differentiate both of these aspects.
Right, please.
And also different markets I will talk about, right? I will talk about how the Indian market looks at it and how the US market looks at it. So I'll give you both those contexts so you'll be able to understand where I'm coming from here. So if you take the Indian market, right, specifically again coming back to technology and coming back to IT, Indian IT industry has grown on the back of IT service companies, right, which is large number of people getting recruited from engineering colleges and other technology institutions coming into the job roles and working to enhance the extend or become the extended teams of product companies which are based outside of India, right? So that was the primary thing. That's why you will see Infosys working with some of the world leaders, right? Whether it is banking institutions or whether it is in automobile, healthcare. Similar will be with TCS, Tech Mahindra, Wipro, right? Genpact. All of these companies are basically adding as working as extensions to these global organizations,
The
and it's a
outsourcing
people
capital,
intensive.
the outsourcing
Yes,
capital of the world.
correct. So it is a people intensive industry, right? So when you want when you're in an IT service industry, like I was at Mindtree, whatever upskilling was being done was primarily being done in such a way that we could meet the customer requirements in terms of the technology and the expectations there, right? So I was managing a large account in Mindtree, and now it is LTI Mindtree, and this was for a global security major called Symantec, which is still plays a large role in terms of security, right? So
Yeah.
there, the technology was at that time was more about programming languages, which could be in C, C Sharp, Java, right? And in terms of the technology itself, it was about data protection, right? Storage, file systems, etc. So those were the kind of expectations which was there from the customer at that end. So if you have these kind of customers' expectations, then the requirement of the skilling needs to meet this kind of expectation from the customer. So all our training programs as a leader, right, you would be needing to expect that this is what my customer expects and this is what I need to train my team members on. So whatever training which I help set up or run in my I would say projects and accounts there was tuned to this. So anybody coming into the team, we used to evaluate whether they had that required kind of skills or not. If those skills were not there, then what was the shortest way for people to get those skills, right? So that would be the first part. The second thing would be, now since a lot of these training programs would be generic, you would now try to make it more context specific, right? Now you would give those people a place to do their this one, right? They would need to work on small kind of activities, which may be fixing issues, fixing bugs and all that stuff. So they needed to work on those kind of activities, right? So that is what would be the activities which would be needed by them to do. So this upskilling would be not only about generic stuff, but it would also be about project related stuff, right? So that would be the case which would be there. So that would what I mean, I'm a representation of most kind of, I would say, project managers or delivery managers in the IT service industry, which is to understand what is the requirement of the customer, then come up with these kind of training programs which should be matching the requirement of the customer there, right? So this is what an IT service industry upskilling would look like.
Absolutely.
However, if you look at US, for example, I have spent, I mean, visited US many times, either from my time at Mindtree or at the before at Mindtree, as well as in my current role. And one of the things which hits you is like these companies in the US are giving jobs or sending or outsourcing to India, like the word which you used, right? So in
Yeah.
that particular case, they are all product companies there, right? Now, when it's a product company, typically what we have seen is product companies do not have the kind of manpower that is there in Indian companies, right? Which is while TCS may say that they have, say, about 6 lakh employees, Accenture may say that they have, like, say, 10 lakh employees and stuff. You would hardly find those kind of huge numbers with product companies in the US. Maybe Google has got about 2 lakh employees, but that's across all different fields of Google. It's not going to be only on software development. Same with
Mhm.
Amazon, maybe it's about 2 to 3 lakhs there, but it covers everything of Amazon, not only their AWS services, but it also covers their stores and Alexa and whatever else products are there in the market, right? So
Mhm.
you would see that their workforce itself will be small. However, what they have in high numbers is customers. So Google will have so many customers, Amazon will have so many customers. In that way, every product company in the US will have a large number of customers. So their upskilling is not a big thing for employees, but it is for their own customers, right? So customer education is a big thing there. So
Got
you
it.
need to look at this in two different lines. In India, it is more about employee education being the big thing. In the US and other places where product is a big thing, customer
Mhm.
education becomes a big requirement there. So that is how you need to see from both these different markets and see it with different lenses.
Yeah, this is very helpful. And I sort of go back to uh, what has happened previously when the industries were there, physical industries. The industry itself is a product, and the people who manufacture, who just work as an employee, there are the supporting the industry. When the
Correct.
product came, it is again in outside India, and we were just supporting that product, enable the product to be successful by providing allied and support services and outsourcing agent. But somehow, I think I would say that the moment we start upskilling our people here in India, in Bharat, we will be able to make them skilled enough to create the product by themselves, rather than just
Absolutely.
only
Yes.
servicing the product. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
the mission of Bharat 2047, a developed country, developed nation, will be far-fetched reality unless everybody, entrepreneur like you, who's going to contribute and create the right skill set for our people here in India. They don't become a service provider to somebody and earn some money and go home, but they actually create a product which solve a problem for larger audience, and they actually create some value for themselves and for the country as well. So I think this is very, very insightful. Thank you for sharing this, Giridhar. In fact, moving into the next point, the next question is about the skill gap. I really want to understand from you and how you are solving that problem in terms of skill gap, because of course, in the context of AI in a non-AI world, how you are solving the skill gap in the field of technology, which is going to help us propel our growth.
Yeah, so I think in terms of a skill gap, right now, skill gap is a word. I mean, just to define it, it means that what job you're supposed to do, whether you have the skills for it or not. If you do not have the skills, that becomes your skill gap, right? So that is how it is defined. Now, coming to how do you solve for the skill gap? So the skill gap happens in different ways for people with different phases of their career. Right now, if you're looking at somebody who is just about to start their job, right? So somebody is coming out from college at this particular time. How do you get them to be job ready? That is their primary thing, right? You get into an education institution and you do your graduation. And while some of them may start their own jobs and their own companies and stuff, but most of them, I would say, that are looking to, I would say, join some corporate to start working there, right? So that would be the primary thing which they are going to be doing. Now, when that one happens, our first thing to figure out is whether the education they went through has made them job ready or not. So that is an issue which has been there not only in India, but even in the US and other places, which that lament is always there, right? Which is the university education always is behind what the industry wants or what the corporate world wants, right?
Got
It's
it.
not going to go away anytime. This kind of a complaint will go on forever and ever, right? Which is because once you get into a university education, you know that it's like a 3 year or 4 year degree, right? It's already decided that what's going to happen in all of those 4 years. Just because AI came in, a university is not going to say that let's redo all of the 4 years of engineering and put in AI from year one. Things like that will not happen because you don't even have people to teach those kind of subjects. So that lag is always going to be there. So I think at the beginner level, it's better to accept that there is going to be a lag with the industry. However, how do you close the skill gap? The answer to that is an internship, right? Which is to say that give the college students or the people doing their graduate or undergraduate education or postgraduate education to say that devote a significant part of their time to internships, right? Instead of just keeping it for a namesake and saying that I will give you time in the last semester to do an internship. Why don't we introduce in those 4 years? Can we say that 1.5 year will be just internships, right? Which is instead of having a continuous 8 semesters, I would say every third semester should be an internship. You do your first, second year, this third year you spend as an internship. Then you do your fourth and fifth semester, then you do another internship, right? So like that, if you keep doing it, by the time a person is coming out from the job, they already have about 1.5 years of work experience, right? Which is a big thing. Now, if you're having so much of work experience, what happens is the when an industry or somebody like us also wants to hire an individual coming out from the university, we know that this person already has got like almost 18 months of work experience, right? They are not going to be treated as somebody who doesn't know anything to start with, and we have to spend 6 months, 8 months to get them ready. So that's the first thing which I would say for a person who is just coming out of college or in their college time to enter the industry. That is how we would close the skill gap. And the answer, like I said, is internships. Now, once you get into your job, that is where, depending on whether you're a product, you joined a product company or a services company, the upskilling programs will differ. Now, if you're a service company, most cases it is top down. I'm talking about in the professional space, right? Which is you joined a company and that company has got a top down approach, which is they will say that, like, say, Infosys or TCS, for example, know that they are going to be getting into projects, say in the healthcare space, right? So if they are in the healthcare space, they know that they need maybe 10,000 professionals who know about healthcare. So that is like a top-down approach which is done. From an individual perspective, if you want to learn, then you are going to be looking at what is the moving trends in the industry. Right now, Gen AI is a big thing. So maybe everybody says that whether the corporate is giving me training on Gen AI or not, I am going to go and join a Gen AI course, right? So that is how I would say that two phases to it. If you're in your professional career, if you join a services company, usually it happens top down. In Other than that, this top down approach, if you want to get in, I mean, do something on your personal side, I think then keep an eye out for what are the new technologies coming in and keep learning from that. So that would be from a services side. From the product industry side, typically what product companies do is they hire for skill. Usually there are very few product companies which do these large kind of upskilling programs which are seen in service companies. So in that particular case, if you are in a product company, it is better for you to start taking your own initiatives there, not wait for the corporate to give you some kind of guidance there. You know what product you're working on, you know what kind of technologies are utilized there, you know what are the new things coming out, right? So if you can do something on your own, I think that's the way to go there.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a very clear path which you have outlined. Very helpful, very useful. Those who are watching, they get to know in terms of what is service industry, what is product industry, and what different approaches which are there, which they can apply and of course upskill themselves. Moving on to a couple of last questions I have before you, Giridhar, today is that can you quickly tell us one or two key learnings which a youth should keep in mind when he is looking to be employable and when he's coming out of the college and he's looking into the new spectrum of the growth in the industry? What are the key one or two key things points he should remember so that he's employable and he's valuable to the contribution to the growth of the company?
Yeah, I think let's look at right now. I think two or three things like he or she, whoever is coming out into the thing they've done there, they're in their undergraduate or postgraduate kind of thing, and what are the things which they can do to set themselves apart or make sure that they will be considered for any new opportunities which is coming up, right? So first thing I would say is, again, coming back to this thing about being in tune with what the industry wants, that do not believe that college education is going to take you to the destination which you thought you want to reach, right? So that is not going to be the case. Most, at least in India, right? This thing about writing these competitive exams and whether it is like in Karnataka, whether you're writing CET or across India, maybe you're taking IIT JEE, or on the medical side, maybe you'll take NEET or similar kind of exams there, right? There's some kind of complacency which comes in that now I've cleared an exam, I've got into an undergraduate course, and that is the door to my future, right? It is not true, because the expectation has actually changed, which is that what got you to the undergraduate is not going to take you beyond that stuff, right? Except for some, I would say, top universities. Even right now, if you see IITs and the top ranked universities in or colleges in India, they are not able to place people completely there, right? So markets will change there. So just because you got into a top college doesn't mean that you will be able to get a job also just because you're studying there. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And right now, um, I would say, since things are changing so fast, the people in the industry also do not have that amount of time to say that let me take somebody who is just fresh and I will spend like 1 year, 2 years training them and getting them to be job ready, right? That's not going to happen. So I would say, if you want to really make sure that you are setting up yourself for success, actively seek opportunities to work in industry. That would be the number one thing, right? Which is, if whether your course demands it or not, you need to go out, look out for places where you can get some job experience. So there are a lot of ways to do it. Obviously, the number one thing is LinkedIn. I have seen a lot of people who reach out to me on LinkedIn, and wherever we have found a fit, we have given those kind of opportunity, right? Even at Nuvepro, we have currently about 90 people, you would see that almost like 18 to 20 people would be interns there. So we are giving opportunities for interns to come up. So that way, irrespective of the size of the company, I would say a lot of people are now open to trying out interns or working with them. So go out of your way, reach out to companies, ask for internships, right? That I think is the number one thing which can set you apart and get you job ready. I mean, there are a lot of other things which you can think about, but I would say that just focus on this stuff. While your college is probably giving you good education, you focus your efforts saying that I want to get job experience, and that could be done with an internship, whether it's paid or unpaid. I think should be the secondary item there. But see if you can get an internship and make sure that you get a good job experience before you complete your graduation.
Yeah. No, this is super helpful because a lot of people who are watching who are looking to upskill themselves. This is the right conversation for them with Giridhar today, which Nuvepro is doing to bring that us upskilling, to manage that skill gap, to make India more employing, generating opportunities. This is only possible when the employers and the employee themselves take those initiatives for upskilling themselves. And these are very genuine feedback and inputs Girdhar, we have shared with the viewers today, that how different segments of product offerings are there, how India and the global markets operate, and how we need to be upskilling our game every time. And especially for the youth, I think this is very helpful to know that not only the education or the college where they study is going to give them the job, but are they really employable? What is the industry gap which they need to fill in? So I think these are very, very valuable input. I think thank you so much, Giridhar, for taking out time, sharing this valuable insight, and the great amount of initiative on the field of technology plus education coming together and solving the skill gap. I really appreciate all the great work and hard work you and the team is doing at Nuvepro. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this show. And because of your contribution and engagement, I know many would get benefit and good will get to know about the initiatives which you are taking in this field. Thank you so much for joining in and taking out your time today.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you.